Peace, y'all. What's good? Hang tight for just a second because I had a consultation that ran a little bit over. So give me just a second. Let me grab a couple things. I'll be right back. My incense. All right. Let me see. Facebook. Let me know, Facebook. Let me let Facebook know I'm online. How y'all feeling? Hang tight, y'all. I'm running a few minutes later. I'm not going live on Facebook and Instagram because it's just too much. I don't have to stay focused. And I want to make sure I try to get everybody's questions. And when I'm getting questions on all these different social media platforms, it makes my energy kind of a little bit scattered. So okay, I did that. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Jamil. How you doing? Mr. Caddy. Okay, let me see. Hang on one second. Notes. I had some notes here. Where did I put them? I just literally finished a consultation and we ran a few minutes over. So I had a couple of books I wanted to grab. A couple of books. I got issues, y'all. Just bear with me. This is what it looks like in the mind of a true to God nerd, because I am. Okay. You know, I always like to give you guys sources about the stuff that I want to help you to grow in cultivation about. I don't always want it to just seem like it's just me, because it's never just me, and I study a lot of different people. Let me put this up a little bit. Okay. Usually I have all this done ahead of time, but like I said, I'm running a little bit behind. My consultation was supposed to be over at 12:45, so I was like, okay, I give myself an extra 15 minutes so I have time, but here I am. Peace. Fix my shirt. That's not a couple what? Oh, a couple books? I know. I have. This is what happens when I'm trying to do videos, when I want to put videos out in order to, you know, talk to you guys about, you know, certain things that I want to talk about. And I never get a chance to really do it because I have so much stuff in my mind that I can never really contextualize it or minimize it. But I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to be better about that. One video that I'm working on that I want to try to get done this week, along with toxic femininity, the whole frequency, which I'm really excited about that one. That was going to be dope. But this, what does it mean to be a vibrational being? Because a lot of these questions that I'm getting from different sources are asking me, like, what does it mean about, what do you mean about vibrational being? How can I attract better people? How can I attract better situations? So I'm going to do a video just talking about what it means to be an actual vibrational being. And I just was explaining this to the sister that I was doing a consultation with. Excuse me, I spent 30 minutes talking. about vibration, and I was using the example. Okay, hold on, pause. Let me stop for a second because I'm on 10. Take a deep breath. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and love. What's popping? What's cracking? What's good? How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? Happy Friday. It's a 3-day weekend, so I know y'all gonna get turned up. Some of y'all it's a 4-day weekend, so I know you guys are feeling good. You know, they just did a massive recall on a lot of meat, so y'all be careful when y'all out here barbecuing them ribs and, you know what I'm saying, that steak and all that stuff. It's crazy out here, so just be mindful of what you are actually putting in your body. Can you break down the definition of toxic femininity? Yes, I can, and I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. Thank you very much. Who asked me that? Malet Adamu. Peace. I will definitely do that. If you guys have questions, just put them in the chat room, but then copy it so that if I miss it or if I don't see it, that I can get back to it. Because, you know, sometimes the chat room moves really fast. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Shahida. Peace, Leslie. Peace, Mike. Peace, Teapots. Oxy. What is that? Oxy Man. Erica. Peace, Queen Erica. How you doing? Much love, Gina. Much love, Boyardi. Ruby. What's good, Queen? Azizi. Kajan. Jamie. Sister Jamie. My backup. My muscle in the background handling the chat room. Peace, Queen. Peace, Roy Carter. Much love, brother. Denise. Yumiko. Tamika Francis. Jennifer Brown. Zipporah. What's good? Peace, Joy. Peace, Sasha. Peace, Dark Window. That's an interesting name. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? I pray that this message reaches you all in the best of health, spirit, and mind. I am doing really, 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 really good. I'm in a great space. Maybe it's showing on my face. I don't know. Maybe I'm glowing. Maybe you can see it, but I'm doing really good. I'm really excited for a lot of things. And more important than any of that is that I'm really just focusing on being present and having an internal, and right now, my shirt is doing something. I'm dressed for yoga, so y'all have to bear with me. I was supposed to do yoga this morning, didn't get around to it. So I'm just in a really good space right now, and I'm excited for the future. But more important than anything, I'm just excited right now in this moment and happy for my breath and my life and all the love that I've been getting from you guys. I've been reading the comments on my videos, and every now and then, you know, I get a couple of weirdo energies and, you know, all that stuff. But for the most part, 90% of the comments on my videos and people that I've been interacting with on social media has been very, very, very positive, which lets me know that's a reflection of my energy and my vibration, because I'm attracting people that are either in need of the message or in harmony with the message, but that are in alignment with what I'm trying to convey in the videos. So I appreciate you, all you guys, and much love for all of the love and all of the support. I've been reading the messages, I've been responding to them, and I'm so grateful that I can be a vessel for the Creator in order to convey some positive energy in the midst of a lot of madness. So a couple of things I want to talk about before I get into the questions. Again, if you guys have questions, I've gotten some email questions. It's too late to email me now because I don't want to be all over the place. Copy the question and put it in the chat room, but then copy it so that you can, you know, if I need to for you to put it up again, that you actually can. So this situation with Angela Rye and her comments about Minister Farrakhan, and this is what I'm going to be doing on the live Q&As, is I'll be talking about hot topics or things that are, you know, certain specific things that you guys are interested in or want to get my perspective and opinions on. One of the things that I got like 10 messages about was, why would you come in the chat room and say something like that? You disrespect everybody in the chat room. Nobody wants to talk to you if you come on and call them out of their name. That's retarded, Darius. Come on now, be better than that. The situation with Angela Rye, right? And don't forget the email question. Okay, I got you, Strictly Hip Hop. Angela Rye and her comment about Minister Farrakhan, as well as my perspective on the Farrakhan Farrakhan ban on social media. First of all, I watched a video of Angela Rye, and let me just say that I think she is a very intelligent and powerful sister. I love, her perspectives on CNN, and I love the way she has that kind of edge to her and her passion, and she's very eloquent and articulate when it comes to matters in the political arena. And we have to have people that are in that environment and have the know-how of what's happening in the government and what's happening in the legal system. So I am an admirer of her as far as the representation and the conversation that she has when it comes to the political arena, which is her area of expertise. So I want to say that I have a high level of respect and admiration for her. I think she's a beautiful sister. That being said, let's be clear. You can disagree with someone without having to be disrespectful. And I think that's a real issue that we have as a people, but mostly not just a people, but as a culture. Peace, King Roy Carter. I'm still waiting for you to send me an email so I can thank you in the proper way. But much love. I appreciate the support, and everybody in the chat room who should happen to send a donation or a super chat. So this idea now that if you don't disagree with someone, especially when it comes to women, that you got to automatically resort to name calling and disrespect. I don't understand that. I don't know what's wrong with, you guys growing up in this Real Housewives or reality TV era where you feel like because someone has a different perspective as you, that you automatically got to start. I saw people calling her a bed wench, and that word just gets thrown around so easily now. We have no respect for women as a culture. Even if you don't agree with someone, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a proper way to have an intellectual dialogue or a disagreement online or in whatever capacity without having to resorting to name calls. It's like, can you stand on a stage with someone or, engage another human being in a debate type setting, right? Where you can take whatever disagreement you have and address it in an emotional or a spiritual or a mental capacity, where you can pull apart whatever their argument is, right? And make your perspective make sense and get people to resonate with what you have to say without turning into a savage. And this is a woman, mind you. We do not hold women sacred in our communities. And quiet is kept. And I'm going to get to what I feel about what Angela Rye said, because I don't agree with what she said. We don't hold women sacred in our communities. That's bottom line. And we know that because you guys support a lot of people that are very anti-women. That's another story. People get the leaders they deserve, right? But there's a certain way for you to deal with people that you don't necessarily agree with without having to be disrespectful, right? Corey just said in the chat room, she ain't shit. She ain't shit, ZaZa. Why? Because she doesn't agree with what you think about Minister Farrakhan? I don't agree with that. Now, let me get to the point. Angela Rye, and to all of the Christians, my Christian family that are listening to me, that are watching me, I don't know if you guys are in tune with what's happening in the world as far as people studying outside of Christianity or going to the root of Christianity, or Muslims or Buddhists or atheists or people of all these different cultures and nationalities and spiritual and religious perspectives. There are a lot of people in the world that do not believe that Jesus, the Jesus that we believe of 2,000 years ago, was actually strung up on a cross and killed in the capacity in the way that they explain that it happened. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of different explanations or hypotheses or, historical references to what people think actually happened to that Jesus. Now, Elijah Muhammad taught in his teachings that the Jesus that people are actually reading about in the Quran and in the Bible was not even the Jesus of the past. It was a Jesus that was to come. And I'll go even further with that. according to the teachings of African spiritual concepts, as well as like a higher level of understanding of the Bible and of the teachings and of the Quran. These people, these Jesuses, we're talking about a consciousness, Christ consciousness. So Jesus Christ, Christ consciousness, right? We're actually talking about metaphors or similes that are talking about levels of consciousness. So you can't, like, the tears was a little bit over the top for me, right? Because Minister Farrakhan's been on the scene forever. So how you did not know that he had certain perspectives like this is kind of a little bewildering to me if you are in tune and tapped into the perspective of Black people in America and around the world. This is not new what Minister Farrakhan was talking about in that video clip, right? So the tears was a little over the top for me, but maybe she really did feel some type of way, right? I can't knock her for feeling that way. But what I can knock her for, if this is actually the case, is not being aware that there are a lot of Black people around the world that share those same sentiments, or that have different perspectives or historical ideologies as far as who and what Jesus was. From an African perspective, Jesus was Asar and Kemet, or not Asar, I'm sorry, Heru. And that Asar, Aset, and Heru were actually metaphysical aspects of all of us, right? And mythological beings or representations of who and what we are as human beings, and higher levels of consciousness. So Asar was a higher level of consciousness. Aset was a higher level of consciousness. Heru was a higher level of consciousness. Set, who killed his brother, which is a representation, a mythological representation of satanic energy, or Satan, right? Set was a mythological representation. Set was the dude who killed Nipsey Hussle. Judas in the Bible represents an aspect of your personality. Now, you know, if you're one of those people, a la the people who are in the chat, who come in my chat room and talk crazy and try to disrupt the energy when we're talking about high vibration, scientific, divine levels of consciousness, and trying to wake people up and get people to feel better and feel good about themselves. And then here comes Paul the peon, or, you know, let me see, what's the best? I want to say it without cussing. Patty Petty, or, you know, Christina the coon. You know what I'm saying? Or however you want to conceptualize it. I'm feeling good. I told y'all that. These people come in the midst of the righteous and dissuade the conversation. This is set. This is satanic. We're talking about energy. We're talking about consciousness. So Minister Farrakhan, who's been studying for eons of time, right, and has his perspective and the ideology and theologies of the Nation of Islam, was talking about that particular ideology. Now, there's people who are atheists who don't believe in God at all. You got the whole flat earth conspiracy theory now, which in and of itself, if you just see how the people who represent the flat earth community, how linear minded they are, and how gung-ho they are, and how, like, that whole energy in that community is like kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're really that sure about whatever it is that you're teaching or you're studying, you don't have to turn into a psychopath or a savage. And I'm not saying everybody in that community is, but I'm saying a lot of those people are. And if you don't believe that, then they're ready to, you know, put you up on a cross and burn you at the stake because you don't believe that the earth is flat. Well, just get up in a plane and take your phone and videotape when you get to the end and send it to me, and I'll put it on YouTube. And then the question is solved. There's a lot of people, and if you don't respect that Minister Farrakhan does not share the same sentiment about Christianity, about what actually happened with Jesus of 2,000 years ago, and you feel like somehow that's a reason for you to go on this this rave, right? And, you know, I'll give her credit, because when you're doing interviews and somebody asks you a question that you haven't prepared for, you're just kind of talking off the head and really kind of, you know, responding in that moment without really thinking about it, in the long run and the implications that it may have. So I'm sure in that moment she wasn't like, well, there are a lot of black people around the world that don't believe in Christianity or that don't believe that Jesus was actually the Son of God. Or I'm pretty sure she didn't have time to really conceptualize it in that way. But as a student of American culture, American government, American history, Black people in America in particular, it behooves me that she could be ignorant or out of touch with the fact that there are a lot of spiritual and religious ideologies that are either in alignment with what Minister Farrakhan said, or that are different, but somewhere under this in the same vein. Meaning, we don't believe that Jesus of 2,000 years ago actually existed, that white people took the story of Asar, Aset, and Heru, and at the Council of Nicaea, they changed that story and elevated, in a sense, Heru of Kemet or of Egypt. They took that mythological story, and because they didn't have a proper understanding, or because they intentionally wanted to mislead the masses, they turned that story into what we now know of Jesus of today. You shouldn't get in your feelings because we feel like that. Because I have books. I'm a student of history, y'all. This is, you know what I'm saying? This is what I've been studying. It's not far-fetched at all for what I just said about Asar, Aset, and Heru to play into the video, or the story of Jesus, right? Now, I believe, and I've studied this from different cultures, that if you look at all the different cultures, indigenous cultures of the world, all of them have an Asar, Aset, and Heru story, right? So I believe that there have been many Jesuses that have come since 2,000 years ago and up until today, and way beyond 2,000 years ago. This planet has been in commission for billions of years. So the timeline, even our human timeline of how we add these things up, everything started 2,000 years ago. That doesn't even make sense. Look at how old this planet is. The geologists, the righteous geologists that have gone back and studied the Sphinx and the pyramids in Kemet, they date the Sphinx back to 20 to 50,000 years ago. Well, most historians of today, particularly Arabs, will say that the Sphinx dates back to like nowhere more than 10,000 years ago. But there are geologists that date that Sphinx back to 20,000 to 50,000 years ago. In my opinion, the whole timeline, including Lucy, who is supposed to be the mother of civilization, quiet as kept. She is the link in the chain for natural selection or Darwinism, or the process of evolution, meaning Lucy basically verifies from the white scientific mind that we originated from apes. So that's another story for another time, unless somebody asks me for more input on that. But going back to my point, there have been many Jesuses. There will be more Jesuses, right? There are Jesuses among us right now, right? And the question for us, for all of us, for Angela Rye and for everybody watching this is, are you aspiring to be Christ-like? That's the real question. Instead of looking back 2,000 years ago and worshiping or focusing only on a man who, if he existed or if he didn't exist, at this point, it doesn't really even matter, because time is still moving, the planet is still evolving, life is still happening, the universe is still growing and expanding and changing. Are you striving to embody Christ-like consciousness? So what really made the thing with Angela Rye kind of suspect to me is when Joe Biden came up, she put her cape on. Captain Sava, a lot of Bay Area. She put her cape on, and everything that Charlemagne was saying about, well, Joe Biden said this, it was disrespectful, I didn't like that. Oh, well, I don't think he really meant that. Okay, well, remember when he said this? Oh, I don't really, it was like, in my mind, the first thought that came in my mind was like, okay, she must be about to run for office, or she's campaigning for something, or she's covering down on a certain demographic or a certain political party, or, the election is coming up. So now you'll notice that a lot of Black people, particularly people that are on those major news sites, are being more careful with their language, are being more careful with how they express themselves when it comes to being anti-Farrakhan and pro-democratic, right? That's why, to me, politics is a game. And although I understand the purpose of playing it and being involved, and we should have people involved, we should have people running for office, we should, as a people, vote collectively, there's no real power in politics. I'm sorry, but there's not, especially when it comes to your individual self. And the problem with us as a people is that we pour so much time and attention and energy into the political arena, hoping that's going to fix our problems, when that's not even the real power source in order to fix our problems, in order to elevate our consciousness and elevate ourselves. If we had a list of the top 10 things that we needed to be focused on as a people, politics would be number 10 for me. And I only say number 10 because it's the list is 1 through 10. If the list was 1 through 100, it would be lower than that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we can pass local laws and ordinances that apply to banking, that apply to schools and education, that apply to healthcare, that apply to women's rights. Absolutely. But we've been doing that for a long time now. And on the ground, on a individual level, right, we have not really moved the ball forward as a culture and as a people. So super mad at Farrakhan for the video that was at the top of his Twitter, which to me, that kind of made me scratch my head, because why did you have to go to his Twitter to see what people were so upset about? If you are a growing and living human Black woman in America who represents Black people and represents Black people's interests, and Minister Farrakhan has been such a pivotal figure in our community for the past 40 years, I don't even understand why you had to go and get verification for why people were mad. Like that whole idea is really kind of counterproductive. So that just really left me baffled. So again, I think she's campaigning for, lobbying for some sort of agenda, and I'm getting a phone call, hold on. Lobbying for some sort of agenda. The whole Joe Biden thing, we're in a stage now where everybody's pro-Black and we talk about revolution and liberation. Why are we still campaigning for these rich white dudes that are, you know what I'm saying, talking about they represent our people, or that they have all people's best interests at hands, but when it all boils down to it, are not really, you know what I'm saying, moving the ball forward for our people. We know in the back room and in the background, these people really don't care about Black people. Joe Biden don't care about Black people. That's not even is that controversial that I say that? Is that controversial that I say Joe Biden doesn't care about Black people? Like, to me, that's a given. So why is she campaigning for him like that? I don't understand. Didn't make sense to me. And even if she felt some kind of way about the things that Minister Farrakhan said, I think she could have said that, but then, kind of rounded that conversation out a little bit with something a little bit more embracive of the Nation of Islam, of the FOI, of the MGT, and in celebration for all of the goodness that the nation has done in this country for Black people. You don't have to agree with everything I don't agree with everything. I don't agree with a lot of what she says. I don't. But again, I don't think there's a lot of power in politics for us as a people. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to go online and, you know what I'm saying, be like, oh my gosh, she said such and such, and I didn't agree with that. And I know, oh, okay. I still support her. I still appreciate her. So I don't know. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. She just was bigging up Joe Biden way too much to me. This dude does not care about Black people in America. He may be more liberal and middle ground when it comes to the bigger picture, and he may be a better choice. When you say you pick the lesser of two evils, sure, Joe Biden's a better choice. But in a bigger scheme of things, like to be campaigning for this dude like that, no. Absolutely not. And just to close the point out, again, my Christian family, I love y'all. I hope that you guys have taken time to go back and study the Coptic Ethiopian studies, which is where the original African spiritual concepts of Christianity actually came from. Right there in Ethiopia. Y'all love Nipsey Hussle, who was Eritrean, but Eritrea is the sister of Ethiopia. So those two cultures are intricately connected. If you love Nipsey Hussle, go back and study those Orthodox Christians in Ethiopia and embody what they taught and what they studied as a people. Okay. So I hope I got that across. As far as Minister Farrakhan and the Facebook ban, it's funny because I've been watching, certain people online, and I saw this post that was like, the enemy is trying to silence Minister Farrakhan with this ban. And I was thinking to myself, if Facebook and, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world are the enemy, why would they give Minister Farrakhan a platform? It don't even make sense. Our language, how we talk about things, we throw these words around and then we try to back it up with, you know what I'm saying? Like, it does not make sense if these people are, in fact, they say that Facebook and Instagram is run by the CIA and the FBI. Okay, then the ban makes sense. I don't see why we get in these real fervent energies and we have these, these kickbacks and these responses. How many of you guys that were so mad about Minister Farrakhan being banned from Facebook and from social media, how many of you guys have been posting NOI.org? Because Minister Farrakhan has a whole website. And I saw somebody put up and said, oh, they're taking all his videos down. No, they're not. Ahmad 770 has hundreds of videos of Minister Farrakhan up. You can go and watch them at any time. But how many of you guys have actually gone and referred people to the NOI.org? Somebody asked me in a chat room, are you albino? I want to say something. The first thing that came to my mind is your mother albino, but I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm trying to maintain my composure here. And I say that tongue in cheek because, like I said, I'm in a good mood. So I'll let the chat room answer that. Am I albino? I'm God. Amazon has banned the secret relationship between Blacks and Jews, but the NOI.org has the secret relationship between Blacks and Jews on sale. How many of you guys that have been upset about that have actually gone to the NOI.org and purchased the book? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really saying here? I know our people don't really support intellectualism. We don't support reading. We don't support all the stuff that we talk about. We don't really support it. So it comes from, it has to evolve the conversation about that kickback, about responding and being in defense to what white people actually do, to being an offense for what our people are presenting on a daily basis. Somebody came on the video. I did the Science of Self where I was promoting my products, right? Trying to kind of introduce myself to a broader audience and just kind of let everybody know what I've been working on. Somebody came on and said, well, where can I go and find the advanced section? No disrespect, but I want the advanced access to what you're talking about. I just did a whole curriculum. I created an online curriculum, the links in the subject. Like, are you saying you want it for free? You saying you want me to, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that it takes me days and weeks and months and years to actually study, you want me to continue to come on here and give you my time and the essence of my energy for free. And you won't even support the stuff that the $10 stuff, the $25 stuff that I give out. That's basically free. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Come on now. Somebody said you're trying to sell enlightenment for $99. You can't buy enlightenment for $20,000. You can't buy enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? So as a writer and as a teacher and as a speaker, the fact that there's this sentiment that, you're not supposed to support that, or you're not supposed to do that as a way of living. We just as a people don't support intellectualism, right? So instead of being so defensive or so upset about the enemy doing what the enemy is supposed to do, just go to NOI.org and support. Go and watch the videos. There's thousands of videos of Minister Farrakhan online. You can go back and watch all of the time and what must be done. I think, was it a 52-week series or something like that? You can go watch all that on the NOI.org for free. You know what I'm saying? So what are we really saying? What are we really saying here? I don't know. The enemy is trying to ban Minister Farrakhan. The enemy should try to ban Minister Farrakhan. If you have an enemy, you shouldn't expect them to give you a platform or a voice, period. That's what I have to say about that. And to me, I wasn't surprised. I was surprised Minister Farrakhan was on these platforms for as long as he was. You really love Minister Farrakhan, share his YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, go support, tell people to go to NOI.org. Tell people to go to NOI.org and purchase the book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. That's what I think about that. NOI.org. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Let me see what's going on in the chat room. One second. I have some other questions, but I just want to kind of see what's going on in here. Make sure we are cultivating. This coon caricature says, stop blocking people. This is freedom of speech. It's not on my page. Vincent, I'm going to ask that question because multiple people have asked me that. Let's see. Okay. Kamitri, and I'm going to just read these questions because she just sent this to me recently. She asked me, what is your daily workout regimen? How long is your workouts? Cardio days, yoga days? Peace, Queen. And I know you're in the chat room right now. So I do yoga. I try to do yoga at least 3 to 4 times a week. I do an hour-long yoga. There's a page on YouTube called Yoga Upload, and I absolutely love this page. Her name is Maris Elward. I think she's a Filipino sister or something, but I love her energy. I love her videos. She does not do a lot of beginner yoga classes. So if you're not familiar with beginner yoga, I would not start with her. She's more intermediate and advanced yoga classes, but I usually do like 4 sessions of her videos for an hour during the week. I try to walk Stone Mountain twice a week, which is a serious hike, not too far from my house. And then I work with a trainer twice a week. So usually I work out like 4 or 5 days a week, and it'll just kind of fluctuate between yoga, between working with my trainer, he stood me up for the past 2 weeks. I hope he's watching. He's traveling to Miami right now. So he stood me up for the past 2 weeks. So I've been doing my own workout regimen for the past week. But yoga, hiking, I like to do a lot of stuff outside. Sometimes I'll go running outside, and then I work with my trainer. And when I work with my trainer, we work out from an hour to an hour and a half, doing, abs, I don't even know what to call it, but I work out with my trainer. So he's getting me fit and helping me to tone my muscle, because I don't really need I don't need to lose any more weight. So hope that answers your question. Yoga with Adrian is good. Yes, that's a great recommendation, Ernest. If you are free to block people, then Facebook is free to block Farrakhan and whoever else, period. That's a fact. Kenny asked, groupthink, collective consciousness, and he was responding to one of my videos. What if things are not functional? Being self-aware won't matter to group dynamic. Wait, let me read this again so I can make. He's talking about groupthink, right? And collective consciousness. What if those things are not functional? Being self-aware won't matter to group dynamics, right? No. So let me give a summation of what he's saying. He's saying if the collective consciousness or groupthink is not functional, does that matter, being self-aware, when it comes to group dynamics? So basically he's saying if the whole community or if the collective consciousness is not, on a higher level of consciousness, does being individually on a higher level of conscious matter when it comes to group dynamics? And no, I will say for sure that Abraham Hicks says this all the time. One person being in alignment with source is more powerful than a million people who are not. So what I tell my clients and people that I work with, you are constantly emitting and radiating a signal as an individual human being. So right now, as I'm talking to you guys, I am, radiating an energy that, those of you guys who are aspiring to something higher or who are striving to get in contact with your inner being or your higher self, that energy, along with what I'm saying and all the information I'm conveying, is going to resonate with you, and it's going to have an impact. When you walk into a room or when you navigate the boardroom or your work situation, the energy that you are emitting can affect everybody around you. So as you move throughout your day, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the bank, if you are internally feeling jealousy or or negative energy, pessimistic, angry at the world, mad at the world, even if you don't go out and shoot up a store or have an argument or a verbal or a physical confrontation with somebody, you're impacting other people's energy everywhere you go. So irregardless to groupthink, and obviously the higher you vibrate and the higher level of your consciousness, the more limited you are going to come when it comes to going around certain types of energy, right? But as you move throughout your life, the goal is to radiate a higher vibration, radiate a higher level of consciousness, radiate love, radiate a positive vibration. And as you move throughout your life, you will affect the people around you. This is why when people always ask me, my family, they're not getting it. They won't listen. I'm trying to teach them about diet. I'm trying to teach them about, reading, about history, about culture. They won't listen to me, and it's frustrating. Stop trying to force anybody to gravitate towards anything that you're teaching. That's counterproductive, because you can't maintain a higher vibration while you're steady going in the midst of a lower vibration, trying to pull people up. The whole idea of trying to pull somebody up is counterproductive when it comes to elevating your frequency and your vibration. So the goal is to radiate love, to radiate consciousness, to radiate intelligence, intellectualism, to radiate excellence. When people ask me what's the solution for Black people, be excellent. Be excellent in everything you do. Strive to be excellent in everything that you do. That's the solution. You know what I'm saying? So no, I don't think that people tell me all this, well, you can't do it by yourself. One person can't do it all. I don't think one person can do it all, but one person is not supposed to do it all. One person can absolutely change the world by changing themselves. That's the goal. And that's yes, the focus on self-awareness is absolutely pivotal. And that's what we all should be striving for. If everybody strive for self-awareness, there would be no problem in groupthink or collective consciousness. Hope that answers the question. Okay. Good morning. This is from Instagram. I've been following you for quite some time now on YouTube. I just watched your video about language and have a question about attracting people. Somebody else just asked a similar question to this in Instagram, so I can answer you guys both directly. Actually, I got this question like 4 or 5 times in different ways. What do you think it means when one doesn't seem to attract any type of people in any particular, I'm assuming, setting or at all? Or the people that one does attract are very far and few in between, which causes a sense of isolation. You are always attracting. We're always attracting and repelling constantly. Everything you do. When we talk about manifesting your reality, and when I talk about this with my clients, manifesting your reality or consciously creating your reality, right? It's not a thing about, I don't know how to do that, or I want to learn how to do that. We're always doing that. You're just either consciously creating your reality or you're creating your reality by default. I'm going to say that again. Thank you very much, George Thompson. Much love. You are either consciously creating your reality. I need to do this more often. I like doing this. Just talking to you guys. You are either consciously creating your reality or you're creating your reality by default. You are either in control of your emotions, which is your navigational system in order for you to attract and repel what you want and what you don't want, or you're not controlling it and you're attracting by default. So when you say, J.W. Hankins, one doesn't seem to attract any type of people or any particular type of energy, basically that means that you are not resonating any type of particular energy, meaning you're not resonating the pessimistic energy, or you're not resonating the low vibration energy, kind of in this middle ground. And a lot of us find ourselves in these gray areas where we're not really producing anything. You go to work every day, you work your 9 to 5, you get home, you cook dinner, maybe play video games, maybe watch some TV, go to sleep, get up and do it all over again. Saturday, you go pick your clothes up from the cleaners, you go get your hair done, you go get your hair cut, watch football on Sundays, maybe go to church, maybe go to the mosque. And every single day of every single month of every single year is repetitive. And so I talk about this in when I work with my clients in the Science of Self curriculum, 95% of our thoughts are repetitive. So if you are not challenging your brain, challenging your creativity, challenging your inspiration, doing something outside of the norm, then it would make sense that you're not attracting different types of mindsets, different types of energies, different types of experiences, because you aren't really embodying or resonating or radiating things that would resonate on a cultural or an expansive or a outside of the box, if you will, sort of energy. So when it comes to people feeling isolated, listen, I spend the majority of my time alone, not because I have to, because this is what I like to do. I like to study. I like to read. I go to the movies by myself. I go to dinner by myself. I have friends. I have, guys that are interested in taking me out on a date or hanging out with me. And I do that sometimes. So I'm not forced to be isolated. I enjoy my own company. So there's a difference between feeling isolated and feeling alone and just moving throughout the world on your own accord, beating to the tune of your own drum. If you feel isolated or you feel alone, it is because you have not yet learned how to accept and embrace the joy of your own company. I tell my clients, and actually, we make plans for them to go out and take themselves out on a date or do something outside of the ordinary that they're used to doing. Because if your brain and your mind is not being stimulated by different experiences and different cultures and different, types of worldly events, traveling and going out, stepping outside of the norm, you're having the same thoughts every day. You're repeating the same patterns, which means you're going to meet the same type of people. You're going to have the same type of experiences. If you get a new job, the new job is going to be very similar to the old job. If you meet a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend, it's going to be very similar to the old relationship, unless you are constantly expanding yourself and expanding your consciousness. When we talk about God, right, we are physical representations of the Creator, this divine consciousness, divine energy, here to have a physical experience. So if God has experienced planet Earth through you, if God is experiencing planet Earth through you, how are you making this exciting for God? How are you invigorating the physical experience of God? And once I started to get that level of understanding, I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, God is experiencing the world through me. Okay, let me shift gears. So people take issue when I say I'm God, and that's okay. I understand that. We're all on different levels of understanding and consciousness. I'm okay with you being on your level if you're okay with me being on mine. Because in no way do I mean to disrespect people or their religion or their culture when I say that. I just know what I know. So hopefully, J.W. Hankins, I answered your question. Much love to Mr. Tycoon. Tycoon sound like some Bay Area language. Going back to E40. But much love. I appreciate the super chat. Let me see. My health is life said, how can I shift what negativity is happening to me at this moment? Learn how to control your breathing. I cannot underscore this enough. I talk about this in the ebook. I talk about this when I talk about yoga. I talk about this in my program and when I work with my clients. The Science of Breath book by Yogi Ramacharaka. You can go to my website and click the link on my recommended books. And it'll take you right to Amazon. It's an affiliate program, so I get a couple of pennies for any people that click the link. Somebody else sent me a super chat. Let me see. I want to make sure. Jasmine, much love. Jasmine Felton, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the positive comment. Perhaps said anyone hating on this woman is what this woman is saying is a super lame, absolutely. And we are staying sucker free in 2019 and beyond. Much love. I appreciate y'all. Your breathing. If you got anxiety, if you have depression to me is nothing more than a lack of inspiration. You don't have anything to wake up and feel invigorated and feel excited about. Going to your breath and recognizing the power and the importance of your breathing, I cannot underscore that enough. So when you feel anxiety, when you feel stress, if you're at work, if you're at home with your children, having an argument, stop. Go in the bathroom, go in the closet, Go in the other room. Go in the conference room. Go outside. Stop wherever you're at and focus on your breathing. If you have shallow breath, meaning you can't take a full breath in, see how my whole body expands? Because I can take a full deep breath in. I can breathe up to the count of 30. I timed myself one time. I get 30 is the highest number. I've been working on this though. So I can take a full deep breath and go all the way up to the number 30, right? Whatever my number is, I stop. So if I get to 30, and I'm not talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So slow, deep breaths. Whatever your number is, if my number is 30, and I don't always go to 30, I usually go to like 12. If I get up to 12, I pause, and then I pause for half that number. So if I get up to a 12 breath count, I pause for 6 seconds or 6 counts. Hold it. Then slowly, not slowly out through the mouth. Never breathe in through your mouth. Always breathe out through your mouth. Slowly for a count of 12, I breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? And then when I get to 12, I pause for another 6 breath count and then repeat that pattern over and over. So if you have shallow breath, start at 8, start at 6, slowly breathing in for a 6 count, pause for 3 count, slowly breathe out for a 6 count, pause for 3 count. Because what you're doing is not only are you, bringing oxygen into your blood by properly breathing, but you're also calming down your neurological system. Every time you feel stress and anxiety, cortisol is being released from your brain and into your bloodstream. So a lot of us who continually feel stress or overwhelmment, your body is literally used to and addicted to being stressed out. So you've got to learn how to breathe properly in order to calm your neurological system down, in order to tell your body, to tell your brain, it's okay. I'm not in harm's way. I'm okay. Everything is good. That's how in that moment you calm that energy and calm your neurological system down. And then from there, walk yourself back. What am I tripping on? Everything is good. I'm not in any direct harm right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a safe environment. However you need to talk to yourself in order to bring that energy down. But that's what I would say, the importance of breathing. And then yoga, I can't stress that to you guys enough. I don't just say that because I'm a yogi. I say that because yoga is, man, I could give you the whole rundown of how important it is, but I did that in my ebook. I give you the whole rundown of what the benefits of yoga and all of the 1,000 things that it helps you with. Most importantly, learning how to be present, which 99% of people on this planet do not know how to do. Much love to Eddie. I'm down with you, ZaZa. I've been following you since the days of Enemy Minds Radio. You are all right in my book. Peace, beautiful sis. Much love, Eddie. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Much love to Calhoun Dukes. I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for all of the super chats. I appreciate all of the support. Okay. Mick Meek is her name on Instagram. She asked me, did I have any videos specifically about raising children? She said, I know you addressed this topic in several videos, but I'm looking for a video by you or recommended by on successfully raising children. This is where I'm currently struggling. I may have made some mistakes and want to tactically steer the energy within myself and my sons, particularly the 19-year-old. Okay, so I'm a mother. You guys know that. So my son's 15. And this is something that, because I didn't really have a strong parental, structure to have a real, strong conscientious about this subject, which is my power and is your power, specifically when we come from backgrounds that may have been dysfunctional or traumatic, and we don't really, have a proper sense of how to parent our children. Don't let that make you feel like you're behind the 8 ball or like you're not properly prepared for raising your children. We have to learn how to take that deficit or that lack, experience it, and use that as our power base. I have a good friend. Her name is Iya Omitayo. If you guys go on YouTube, she's an Ifa priestess, and she is a powerful woman and the most intelligent woman that I've ever listened to or had experienced or engaged. She's a spiritual mentor to me as well, and a really, really, really good friend and a mother type figure in my life. But she's a very powerful sister. She and I are going to create and are in the inception or in the idea stage of creating a curriculum specifically focused around this topic, because it's not a one and done, you know what I mean? And one video wouldn't even scratch the surface when it comes to parenting. And she's who I go to when I need help and guidance from my son. So we are going to create an online curriculum that focuses. Her name is Iya Omitayo, Iya Omitayo, Omitayo. If you search her on YouTube, you'll find some of the interviews that she's done. And then you can, her contact information is there. She does, spiritual guidance and helping people to get their lives in order as well. So you guys can look her up and contact her. But we're going to create an online curriculum specifically around this subject because it's so big and it's so vast. There's no way I could respond in a video or even on an Instagram post to be able to justify the fullness of this conversation. With that being said, I will say, and this is something that I talk to my clients about because this is something that I've garnered from my experience as a mother. When my energy is off, when I'm struggling with something, when I'm upset about something, it affects my son. And not in the sense that, we have a fallout or an argument or he hears me arguing with somebody and all of a sudden it's affecting him. It's that, but it's deeper than that. Energetically, as energetic beings, remember how I talk about we're constantly vibrating energy. So my household has an energy. My car has an energy. So the energy that this house holds in the rooms, in the kitchen, in his room, in my room, in the other room, in the breakfast nook, and all these different rooms in my house resonate a certain type of energy. My son and I have an energetic language that we exchange whether we talk or not. When my energy is off course, my son's energy gets off course. When we came from California, and it's just an example for you guys. We moved from California, we moved here. My son was pissed, right? Because he's, basketball, he's leaving all his friends, he's leaving a family support system, everybody he knows, the whole world he knows, and going to Atlanta where he doesn't know anybody, right? So he was upset with me, and he was 13 at the time. So he had a basketball game, and mind you, he was upset for a minute, like weeks or whatever, however long it was leading up to that situation, us moving. My son injured his ankle? He injured his ankle 2 days before we left to come to Atlanta. And it was we ended up in the emergency room the day before we were flying out to Atlanta, right? So energetically, and this is what I've told him, and I've continuously told him, because my son's a serious athlete. He does not play. Whatever is happening to you mentally, whatever is happening to you emotionally will express itself physically if you don't get control of the nature of whatever is happening internally. So all that anger and him being mad at me and, upset and dissatisfied about being, not being back at home in Oakland and all of that stuff manifested itself physically. So what I told him was, while you sitting around sulking and being mad at me, and this goes for everybody, right? You sitting around sulking and being mad at me and probably cussing me out in your mind, you manifested that energy and that energetic expression in your physical life. So who you really hurting, right? It's like, people sitting around being mad at other people, or you mad at your ex-boyfriend and you can't get over the fact that he cheated on you and you cursing him out in your mind and your spirit and you praying with that bitterness and that angriness in your spirit. You praying to God from an energy of despise or anger or vitriol. You're sending a prayer out into the universe from a pity party. It's only going to come back to you. This is just the way the laws of the universe work. So that's what I explained to my son. So that's one example, but the curriculum is something that we're going to work on, because I know that it's something that I've needed, and I know it's a lot of particularly single mothers and single fathers too. I have a lot of brothers who reach out to me who are struggling, trying to find their way as parents. But I remember I read in one of Abraham Hicks' books where they were talking. She was talking about the most important thing as a parent is your connection to source. You being in alignment with your higher self is more important than anything. Is more important than your connection to your child. And that's kind of hard for us as mothers in particular to put ourselves first, because we have this idea that that's being selfish or we're hurting our children for putting ourselves first. But if you are putting your child first in front of your well-being and you're struggling every day and you feel lost and stuck and you are, emotionally just in all of this turmoil, energetically, you are teaching your child a lesson that is counterproductive. Vibrationally, you are teaching your child a lesson that is counterproductive, and that's going to harm them in the long run. And this is why, as we grow up as children and we see our family members go through domestic violence, or mother was in a domestic violent relationship and you spent your whole life saying, I'll never do that. I'll never do that. And you look up and you with an abusive man. Because energetically, you're sending a signal out into the universe that's saying, I don't want that. 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 So the universe says, okay, well, this is all your energy. This is where all your energy is going. Here's more. So as parents, the most important thing, and I'll just answer this question in this way. And as I said, when we do the teaching curriculum, we'll expand on this more. The most important thing is your energy, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, right? That's what I'll lend to that conversation. And hopefully I did it justice. How y'all doing in the chat room? Shanika's a troll. Don't forget to like this page, share this message, and share. Much love. Yeah, y'all please subscribe and support. Iya Omitayo. Yes, that's it. Much love, Peace Johnson. I appreciate you keeping people on their posts. All right. I have some more questions. Let me find them. You guys know I did that mulatto video the other day, and I got a lot of feedback from that. All right. Brother Victor hit me up. Let me read his message, or part of his message. He said, I appreciate you addressing the idiots in your video, the mulatto problem. I have always wanted to ask you this question that I'm going to ask you, but first I need to tell you that it makes my blood boil, literally, every time someone says that you aren't Black and you are a product of a devil, etc. Me too. It used to make me madder before, not so much anymore, because again, I have a proper understanding of myself and who I am. I'm not searching for myself anymore. I'm very clear on who I am. He says, as you can see by my name, I am Latino. Well, I have a Latino name. My father is Puerto Rican and from Ponce, Puerto Rico, and my mother is Black and from Virginia. My question is, do you subscribe to the you are what your father is because you are your father's seed? As I got older, it seemed race and ethnicity was a major thing, and I would say I'm Puerto Rican and Black, and later just Puerto Rican, and finally I would say Afro-American. Am I wrong? How would you identify me? He also said in the quote that he was in the email that he sent me. It was a lot longer. I didn't put all of it in there, but that his mother was abusive to him when he was coming up, and that his father ended up eventually taking custody of him. Much love, Marquita Tolbert, Peace Queen. I definitely appreciate you for showing love for the super chat. All right. I'm looking at some of these comments here. Brother Victor. So this is interesting, right? Because we always say, in African, how long have I been talking, y'all? An hour? Let me text my son, make sure he's straight. He got out of school earlier today. Today's the last day of school. So it's 1:05 now. Okay, I've been talking for an hour. Y'all see I can talk. So if I lose you or if I need to slow down or whatever, let me know. Let me take a drink of water. And I'm doing this 1 hour. Been talking for an hour now, but remember, I talked to I did a consultation right before this video. My chair is so damn squeaky. I did a consultation right before this video and talked to a sister for 55 minutes. So I'm going on 2 hours of talking now. So you guys just bear with me. My voice is starting to feel a little strained. Okay. So, Victor, Number one, the first thing I'm gonna say is there is no wrong. When you say, am I wrong? How would you identify me? You got to get out of that space where you are looking for validation from other people. And this has literally been the story of my life. And in doing that video that I did, if you guys haven't watched it, go watch it. The mulatto problem that I did last week. Watch it after you watch this. Don't leave me now. But for me, I've been having and radiating this underlying energy of needing validation my whole life. And I grew up in an all Black family. My family is like chocolate, right? So it wasn't even a thing of, I didn't really even have anybody in my family that I could relate to as far as my skin tone, right? Because usually, you know, there's a tribal connection that you'll have with certain people in the family that are more akin to how you look, because not because you choose light skinned people or you choose dark skinned people, but because you have the same type of experiences. So in assessing myself, right, I've been having an underlying energy of seeking validation from not just the Black community. I would say it's just the Black community, but in a bigger scheme of things, I've been seeking validation in all areas of my life, because when I came out, I came into a situation that was constantly making me question myself in my own family. You only getting that kind of attention because of the way you look. You only got those awards because you light skinned. You only get men's attention because you mixed. You only get special treatment or special treatment or certain kind of situations because you mixed. I grew up in a family and in a womb environment that constantly had me searching for and seeking validation. So when I did the mulatto video, that was kind of like me just energetically, not even so much for the people who were watching the video, energetically me letting the universe know I don't need validation anymore. I'm not trying to find myself anymore. A sister came on a video and told me that I should go and get the African in order to settle the matter, that I should go and get the genealogy testing from the African the specific Black owned African genealogical testing sources. And I basically responded to her and told her, you know, number one, the science is a little bit, you know, fishy to me. Not that it's not Black owned. I'm not questioning the fact that it's Black owned. I'm questioning the root and the nature of the science, all of it, all together. And this goes back to what I said about Lucy, right? The whole science of evolution and Darwinism is suspect to me, right? So even if we are going straight to African-based or Black-owned genealogical companies, these people are using white people's science, meaning how they actually qualify at the root base where you come from. And even beyond that, because I support people going back and doing that and getting their lineage. I support that wholeheartedly. For me, I'm not looking for myself anymore. So I don't need a test or a genealogical study. I don't need any of those things to tell me who I am anymore. I come from God. And I can back that up in a sociological, mental, emotional, intellectual, physical, scientific, you know what I'm saying? Like I can break that down in a lot of different ways. Now, when I was 22 and I was studying African history and African culture real heavy, it would have been good for me to go back and get that test then, because it would have had value for me. And I'm not even saying it wouldn't have value for me now. I'm saying I'm not searching for myself anymore. I'm good right where I am right now. I have a very strong and solid foundation for where I am right now. So Victor, never ask anybody again, including me, if you are identifying yourself properly or how you should identify. The thing about, you know, do you identify with your father versus your mother? This is interesting, right? If you think about sperm, this feels funny me talking like this because I know it's been more than an hour, and I hope I'm not losing you guys or boring you guys. And if I am, don't comment and say I'm boring you. Just go to another video or go and eat some Popeye's chicken. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm a lot sillier than what y'all probably know. I like to have fun and to be silly, but the parental lineage, if you think about the sperm, right, coming from the man's loins, right? So who you are, or part of who you are, or a big part of who you are, as those 300 million semen that when a man ejaculates, it comes from his his loins and goes and connects with the womb of the mother, and that's when that essence of life springs forth, right? But that sperm is the starting point for your life. Now, those eggs that are already in the mother's womb, that are with her whole entire life, those eggs mate with that sperm, and that is when the inception of life actually begins. So to your question, yes, I would say that I identify people specifically through their father's loins, right? Because of the nature of how sperm works. And we could get into the chromosomes and all of that, but I don't want to get too scientific about this. I would say yes to your direct question, but I would also say that there are a lot of people who come from, let's say, have a white father and a black mother. If your black mother raises you and is responsible for how you are acculturated, if that's even a word, accultured, then you are going to socially, and culturally identify more with your black side. Just like if your white mother raises you, you're going to most likely identify more with your white side, but you can't fully identify with your white side, because once you're biracial, you're never white, right? You can never be white, because of the whole dominant versus recessive gene, and more science. We won't get into that. So for me, as a woman who came from my father, not only was my father black, but I also was raised in a very predominantly black environment. I went to a African center school, so my whole environment was very, very black. Now, I had a sister on my YouTube video, the mulatto video, who basically tried to tell me that because I didn't have a black mother or an African mother, that somehow, or people who don't have African mothers, that somehow waters down the nature of your Africanness or your blackness, or that you somehow are not as powerful or as prominent, which in your case, that wouldn't apply because, well, yeah, you had a Latino mom, right? No, your dad was black. Wait, no, your mom was black, your dad was Puerto Rican, which Puerto Ricans are actually Africans. He's probably mixed, meaning he probably looks more Latino, but he's still got African blood, which means you have African blood from both sides. But I'll say this, and then I'll end this point. How you're culturally acclimated. Before we come into this physical existence, our consciousness actually decides what we want, what type of experience we want to have. So now that I understand that, I recognize that I chose my mother and chose to have this experience in this physical realm in order to fill out whatever my divine mission was in this particular lifetime. So for me to sit back and feel some type of way, or to let anybody make me feel some type of way, and you as well, allowing anybody to make you feel some type of way because you are mixed, or what should identify which way, your consciousness, your God self, your inner being, your soul chose your parents to come here and have a particular type of experience. So what I told the sister is, I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? It's counterproductive for you, and it's spiritually impotent and counterproductive for you to try to tell me that somehow I am less than because I didn't have an African mother. And I said that acknowledging that I emphasize black love. I emphasize black men being with black women, and white black men being with black women, being with black women, and et cetera, because I do understand the scientific and the cosmological advantage of having two black parents. Now, that said, there's a lot of black women out here giving birth to demons. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. So then we have to contextualize what we're really saying when we're only trying to crown people based on having two black parents or whatnot. Like, there's a bigger spiritual lesson when it comes to this whole race aspect. When you die, you're not a color anymore. You're not a race anymore. You're not an ethnicity anymore. You go back into the cosmic soup that is God. You know what I'm saying? So you go back into pure positive energy. So you're not still uh, uh, hovering over racism, white supremacy, or embedded in that conversation. You have a broader perspective of who and what you are from the perspective of God. I think there was something else I wanted to say about that. So I think that the main thing is for you to become comfortable in your own skin, and embrace both sides of yourself. Feel powerful in who and what you are and your experiences, and you decide how you identify. You ask me, I'm God, and then I backtrack from there. Right now, I'm having an experience as a mixed race woman who came from the loins of my father and came from the womb of my mother, and both of them, my mother had a genius level IQ. You know what I'm saying? So this intellectualism that you're seeing of me right now, I give credit to my mother for that, and my father. He was very intelligent too. So I just think we spend too much time trying to tell people who they are and trying to tear people down. And, much love to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and her memory and her legacy for putting this conversation into a scientific language for people like me to have a better grasp on who I am and to be able to defend myself when I need to defend myself when it comes to certain things. I hope I answered your question, and I wish you much love and much appreciation for first of all, entrusting me with answering your question. But you decide how you identify yourself. You decide, who and what you are. And you don't have to go around telling everybody that questions you. When people say, oh, you a mulatto, you a mixed breed, you come from the womb of a devil. Okay. I'm still God. You know what I'm saying? So walk me back from that. And I say that with all due respect and humility. But it's just, you got to learn how to be comfortable within yourself. You got to learn how to love yourself. You got to learn how to value and appreciate yourself. When you go back and study Puerto Rican history, you realize those people just were on different boats. You know what I'm saying? And not all of them, because there were Black people in all of these lands before we came here on slave ships. So, just contextualize it in that perspective. And much love to you. I hope I was able to answer your question and to give you some sort of resolve, because this is something I've been struggling with my whole life. People trying to tell me who I am or what I am, or you ain't good enough, or you only get, at this point now, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I know who I am. And that's the stage that you got to get to, brother, in order to come into the fullness of who you are. When I talk about being in alignment, that God energy, that God frequency, self-acceptance is a big part of that, because there's no way that you can be in alignment with the energy and with the vibration of God if you are constantly questioning yourself and struggling with race identity. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not waiting for anybody to validate or choose me anymore. I choose Black people from America because that's all I know. You know what I'm saying? And when I emphasize Black people in America, I grew up in the Panthers in Oakland, very revolutionary. You can't take that from me. I grew up, studying the Nation of Islam and the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. You can't take that from me. I have a degree in African studies. You can't take that from me. I resonate heavily with all of those great African queens that I've studied. I've studied these people. You know what I'm saying? You can't take that from me. Those are my ancestors. Those are the people that I resonate with. So you just decide which ancestors you want to resonate with, what cultures you want to resonate with. And again, Puerto Rican, those are African people that just, were mixed, like a lot of people were mixed. And you are who you are now. So you decide, and then you tell the world who and what you are. Sister Kay Simmons, she said, hello, ZaZa. I just want to start by thanking you for all that you taught and have shared with me. I am so grateful for your selflessness and eager tenacity and commitment to helping people that really want to learn. Much love, Queen. She said, I just left the church community last year, and I recently left the Israelite community a few months ago. I'm learning overall to respect everyone's walk in life, but I personally don't have interest in limitations such as religion. I feel like the Israelite community and church community carry a religious energy. I still battle with thinking if I don't commit to something, I will go to hell. My first question is, how would you explain what life will be like when we die? What is death to you? Do you think that the biblical way of explaining life after death or heaven and hell will occur? Is this just an idea? This is more than one question, sis. In addition to the book Being Supernatural, which is by Joe Dispenza, one of the books I always recommend. In addition to the book Being Supernatural, what book or docs or movies will help explain what frequency and energy is and how to control and navigate mine? Okay, that's a lot of questions, sis. And there is, even if I did one full video on your questions, there's no way that I could really conceptualize what you asked. I will say, and this is not just me advertising my school, but it is me advertising my school. In my curriculum, I talk about all of this stuff, and I really make this in a simple way. These kind of conversations, complex conversations and ideas about religion and vibration and frequency, I put together a curriculum where people can go and study these type of things at their own pace, and then the macrocosm of it, and then bring it down to the microcosmic aspect of your life. So I will say, if you're really serious about learning this stuff, that I recommend that you go click the link in my bio, the Linktree page, and go to my online curriculum and sign up for my classes, because this is not a one question or a one video type. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even do this, the proper type of service in order to really answer this question, but I will try. Some of it I've already answered. And I'm not one of those people I'm not anti-religion. So if you find peace in the Hebrew Israelite community, much respect to you. If you find peace in Christianity, much respect to you. But if it's not aiding you in living your highest and best self and helping you to obtain peace of mind, that's when it starts to get a little sticky for me. Let me drink a glass of water. Somebody said, Movement, Dr. Video said, religion has been a scam for over 1,000 years. Why can't people take any time to do research before believing in anything? I don't agree with that. There was religion in Kemet. It wasn't what we think of today as religion, but they had priests. They had actual religious tenements. They didn't call it religion, but that's what it was. And then, when you go back and study Orthodox Christianity from the Ethiopians and these different, even Islam, when you go back to the precepts of Islam, and I don't want to get into a fight about Islam, please. But sorry, my phone's ringing. I don't want to get into a fight about religion, but some of the best people that I know spiritually and the quality of their heart and the quality of who they are Muslims. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, it's a tricky situation. But the main thing for me is to aspire to peace, internal peace within yourself. So if I don't commit to something, I will go to hell. That's one of the things about religion that definitely throws me for a loop, and people get stuck in the books where it talks about hell and thinking that they're going to burn in some eternal fire. So I did a lecture about this some years back, right? Just breaking down this whole idea of hell. If there is a physical hell, let's talk about this. Where is it? Where my body is going to physically burn, right? Where could this place actually exist? The common perception in that is it's in the core of the earth, right? It's beneath us. It's in the core of the earth. It's way deep underneath the ground, right? So if you think about this place, this physical place where physical bodies burn, because spirits don't burn. Your soul can't burn. So you can't experience a sensation of your soul or your spirit actually burning. So if hell is an actual place that is in the core of the earth, and the diameter of the planet Earth is, I think it's 57,000. My Muslim family helped me out. 57,265, is it? I'm behind on my lessons. I need to catch up. But if the circumference of the planet Earth, right, is a certain number, and I think it is 57,000 some odd, right? 57,265 or something like that. That means within that core of the planet Earth, there is a centralized area of rock, right? So that means that if there's 8 billion people on the planet right now, and let's say there's been 500 billion people in the history of the world, going back 5,000 years from now, even though we know the planet's been in existence way longer than that. So out of those 500 billion people, let's say 100 billion, just to be simple. 100 billion people, right? Let's say 10% of those people went to hell. That's 100 million, right? Right? 100 million people went to hell. That means that there's 100 million people burning in the core of the earth right now. Does that make sense? This scientifically. Does it make sense for, and we know if there's 500 billion people since the beginning of the world, we know that the number of people that will be going to hell will probably be more like 80% of those people. But lowball it, 100 million people, where are they burning? Where, you know what I'm saying? Where is this burning happening? So, and I could get more into that, but I think that's the basic prism of what I'm trying to say, right? So then you get into, okay, well, maybe it's not your physical body burning. Maybe you're going to be punished somewhere in an afterlife. You know, your spirit is going to go and be punished somewhere in an afterlife for eons of time. Well, what is that experience like? Because you don't have a physical body. Because hell is supposed to be fire, never-ending fire, right? So when you start to think about it from a logical perspective, it'll help you to walk back from this. This is why you can't just tell me anything. Stuff got to make sense for me. You know what I'm saying? So thinking about it from a logical, realistic perspective, that doesn't even make sense, right? Then let's see. How would you explain what life would be like when we die? I don't know. I've never died before. But what I do know from my different studies and reading books about reincarnation or multiple lives, I do believe that, and this is a belief for me, just based on my studies and what I know of life and what I've experienced, just my belief, that our consciousness or our souls live forever. We are infinite beings. We never actually die. We transition through phases, and Earth. There's this lady that I'm studying. Her name is Dana something. I can't remember her last name. But she said Earth is a school ground. And she said we come here in order for our souls to expand and to grow and to learn through this experience in order to go to different stages of consciousness. That makes sense to me. That, along with other things that I've studied and indigenous cultures and what they talk about as far as the death process, that makes sense to me. Even the Ka and Ba in Kemetic spirituality, right? When you think about it, that's right in alignment with that. So I don't think that we ever die, but I do think that physically we transition into another realm. And this is where you get into African spirituality and the concept of revering or studying or worshiping or being in communication with the ancestors, because you don't physically die, you transition into the spiritual realm. So now you are consciousness in this soup of consciousness that is the divine mind, that is God. And let me see. What is death to you? The physical death is when your body dies and you are no longer here on the physical plane, and that you actually transition into the spiritual realm. Do you think the biblical way of explaining life after death or heaven and hell will occur? No, not with the understanding that we have. No, I don't think, and I think most people are very confused and stifled by the biblical reflection of heaven and hell, that somehow when you die, you're going to be judged. And I do think that there's a reflection of what you did in this lifetime. Not necessarily a judgment, but a reflection. Did you do what you came here to do? Were you representing the tenements of love, of a higher frequency, of a higher vibration? And I think that's where karmic debt comes into play. Sometimes we have to come back in order to repeat certain cycles because we didn't, do right by people or have the experiences that our souls wanted to have. But again, I'm only talking about things that I've studied. So I can't really give a full-fledged emphatic answer because I've never died before and I don't know anyone has. So anybody that talks about this stuff like they know this for a fact is kind of shaky because, we study, all these different cultures and whatnot. And then we take what we believe and what embodies and makes sense. And then we leave it alone. Chiz Must House said, can I stand up? I tell you what, you send $1,000 to my Cash App right now and I'll stand up. number $ ZaZa Ali. Send me $1,000 and I'll stand up. You want to be a smart aleck. Let me mute this person. I'm talking about Shaitan. Yeah, that's when Oakland comes out of me. You know, I gotta get slick sometimes with people because they try to get real slick with me. In addition to the book being supernatural, what books or documentaries or movies will you help? Okay, these are some of the books that I pointed out. The Super Beings. I always talk about this book. This book is a little bit more advanced. So if you are, not really in tune with some of the stuff that I teach, this may not be a good place to start. But some of you guys that have been studying this for some time, this is a good place. The Super Beings by John Randolph Price. The Secrets of Sound Healing by Jonathan Goldman. This is a good book that talks about vibration and sound. I really like this book. It's a good, if you want to learn more about frequency and sound. Also, this book, The Mysticism of Sound and Music, the Sufi teaching by Hazrat Inayat Khan. I'll put up a picture of this stuff on my social media pages so you guys can see this. This is a brother. He's a Black Indian, so to speak, not from America, but from India. This is a really powerful book. Again, a little bit more advanced. So, depending on where you are, The Kabbalion, I will recommend this book, To the End of the Earth and Back. Still a little bit more advanced, but definitely once you get a proper handle and understanding of the science of vibration and energy, that book will serve you really, really well. I study that book and read it all the time. Energy for Life, Higher Energy Conscious Living by Caroline Shola Arewa. This is a really good book, and it's a little bit more simply written if you are not really, versed in these subject matters. Sonetta Studios, what up? I knew you was going to show up sooner or later. Peace, brother. How you doing? Divine Matrix by Greg Brayton. I always recommend this book. The God Code by Greg Brayton. A little bit more scientific, but if you guys are scientists like me, you'll appreciate it. This is a really good book. This is wherever you are. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. I recommend this book for anybody. If you're watching this and you're interested in this whole conversation, energy, vibration, frequency, and whatnot, this is a really, really, really good place to start by Deepak Chopra, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, a practical guide to the fulfillment of your dreams. Get this book, okay? And then there's some more books I have here, but Law of Attraction by Abraham Hicks is a good one. You Are the Universe by Deepak Chopra. This is a more scientific book, so check that stuff out. If you guys want to learn more, want to study more, The Science of Self is the book, that, don't say nothing weird, please. I just put chapstick on. That's all I have on this chapstick. A book that I want to write that's going to incorporate all of this stuff. It's going to be a real powerful book, but I need time to actually, focus on that. So let me start focusing on some of the chat room questions, because I've had you guys for a long time, and I definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. Why did I never return your call, Sonetta? You want me to answer online? You want me to answer here? You tell me. Or you want to have this conversation in a more private setting? Let me know if you want me to answer here. If not, then we can have this conversation. You can hit me up in a separate capacity and we can have the conversation. How many books have you read? I have no idea. Why you never return my calls? Are you cheating on me? Okay, well, let's talk about it. So Sonetta hit me up when I've actually blocked your phone number, just to be full disclosure. Maybe I'll unblock you after this conversation. But Sonetta hit me up when all that stuff was happening with the controversy with me and my trip, and basically was like, come on my show and, respond to what's being said. He hit me up on some Don King type energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me be the first to have the exclusive interview. And it just rubbed me the wrong way because I was really dealing with a lot of stuff at that point in time. And while people wanted me to come forward, I'm not a public person at all. You know what I'm saying? Like this is very new to me and I try to embrace this, but I am not a public person. I'm just now getting to the point. I've been doing this for like 6 years where I feel comfortable sitting down in front of video and just talking to you guys without a pre-planned message and a pre-planned video or presentation. I used to think that was corny. Just sit down in front of a computer and talk to people, like, for what? So I'm just now getting to a point where I'm okay with that. But Sonetter hit me up like, you know, come on the show. Actually, I probably still have your text messages. Come on and give your side of the story. I was like, my side of the story, like, bruh, I'm going through some real shit right now. You didn't even ask me how I was doing. So he, along with like 2 or 3 other Black media outlets, hit me up, and it just felt a little too Jerry Springerish to me. Now, I will say that people have told me that Sonetter was one of the only people that was defending me publicly, and he did, and I know he did. So I definitely appreciate you for that and for supporting me over the years. But at that time, that whole energy and just coming forward and talking, you know, and trying to give people an explanation who don't want an explanation, who only want to jump on a bandwagon, that's just not where I was at. And then, you know, Sonetter, you are super aggressive. So he was texting me and calling me, and that all that energy was, at that point, I was trying to get control of my energy in order to get all of these moving parts in control, and to be calm and to be centered in order to do what I needed to do. People forget I'm a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a child. My child is my priority. So if my energy is off, like I was talking about before, I have to get myself centered and get myself calm to make sure I have the right type of environment, an incubator for my son to be able to function properly, and for myself to be able to function properly. I get a lot of energy coming at me, you know what I'm saying? And most of it's love. But man, over these last like 6 years, the public things that I've been through with, you know who, and you know who, and you know what I'm saying? People just feeling like they have the all out audacity to just attack me for whatever reason and call me out my name and all that stuff. Like, I get tired of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just at that point wanted to be still and to be calm. And Sonetter was like in, you know, in a, you know what I'm saying, in pit bull mode. Let's go forward. Let's talk about this. Let's do. And I'm like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I owe an explanation to the people I owe an explanation to, but this public personality shit, y'all got me twisted. You know what I'm saying? Most of the people who felt like I owed them some sort of explanation ain't never supported me, never bought my books. You know what I'm saying? When I do the math of the number of books that I've actually sold, or the number of people that have attended my events, and then I juxtapose that with the numbers of people who watched, you know, this peon's video or that peon's video, or made comments on, it's like, most of you people don't even support me. You know what I'm saying? So who am I explaining what to? And then when I tried to explain it, I had an energetic kickback. I heard something just happen outside my house. I had an energetic kickback because all that energy came up in my spirit. So I got real emotional and, you know, cried in the video. And I don't apologize for that. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That was true to my form. You know, but I felt all that energy. It reverberated in my spirit, all that negativity, all that madness, that savagery came up in my spirit. So I had a response, and I was like, you know what? This is why I never came forward. This is why I never said anything. Let me continue to handle my business and to handle my life and my world the way that I need to. Social media does not run my life. The internet does not run my life. People's opinions does not run my life. So when you came at me, brother Sonetter, like, come on, ZaZa, come on my platform. Let's get this right. Listen, I was in a space of nope, calm, meditation. I got to figure out why this happened to me. I got to get the download from the universe. I was trying to be centered and to be calm, and you was in rah-rah mode. And that's not how I operate. So that's the response. I will unblock you on my phone, and perhaps we can have an actual conversation after this. But, you know, I know that your whole platform is tempered around, you know, content and the exclusive and all that type of stuff. I don't operate like that. You know what I'm saying? The internet don't run my life. So that's my answer to you, beloved. And I still got love for you. And I'm so thankful that you were one of probably a handful of people that actually defended me. It's so funny when I see all these people in the conscious community, you know, all the people that y'all love and appreciate. And, you know, I love some of them too. It's all love when they see me. But, you know, when the shit go down, you know what I'm saying? I don't hear from nobody. These are people who actually have my phone number. So for those experiences, I'm very grateful, because, you know, that's when you get to really see who people are. And so I appreciate that, and much love to you, Sonetter. I know you defended me. That's what I just said. I know you defended me. You're Aries. I'm a Scorpio. The Scorpio don't move the way everybody moves. The Scorpio sits back and assesses the scene. We are very patient people. I sit back and assess the scene, you know what I'm saying, and make decisions based from a calm and rational perspective, and not from what everybody thinks or from what everybody wants. So, you know, I appreciate you though, brother, and I know you defended me, and I know in a bigger scheme of things, I know you have, you know what I'm saying, good intentions, especially when it comes to me. So I still love you. I still appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'll unblock you. We can have a conversation when this is over. Okay. All right. Can someone block your, have you read The Holy Tablets by Malachi York? I can't say I've read them. I've perused through them. I'm in a space. How can I say this? I get to a point where if I am in conflict with the energy or the intention or the fullness of a particular teacher or scholar, it blocks me internally from studying their work. I remember I was studying Cheikh Anta Diop real heavy, right? And he started talking about evolution and natural selection. You know, he had studied in Europe, so he was he ascribed to some of those teachings. And I remember when I read that, I was just like, how could you know all this stuff about African history and African culture and actually believe that we came from apes? You know what I'm saying? So that kind of jaded me for a long time from studying his works. Now I go back and study the books and don't feel any type of way about it. But sometimes when I am, you know, when I have difficulty with, you know, some of the things that people have done in their lives, it kind of makes me biased to those teachings. So yes, I have seen them and perused them, but I can't say that I've studied them enough to be versed. You know what I'm saying? Much love to 10 Minutes with Big Elvis. That's an interesting name. I appreciate you for the super chat. Let me go back through these questions and get some of you guys, because I am we have 1 hour 41 minutes. I've never talked this long on a live, but this is fun. Great to communicate. Okay. I still love you, Sonetta. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Should people learn to separate the message from the messenger, or does it all go together? It depends. It just depends. I have a hard time separating the message from the messenger. I'm not gonna lie. Because your message is conveyed, and I talked about this in the other video, the power of language, or watch your language. Everything that you say and the message that you convey is filtered through your consciousness, and your consciousness is an embodiment of who you are. I know people that get up on stage and talk, you know what I'm saying, and teach a certain lesson that are demons. I've seen them on the stage, behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Talking that black power, that black liberation. And then when you actually like get a chance to really look into the heart and the mind and the spirit of this person, and it's a straight demon, I ain't gonna say no names. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not my job. I don't need to do that. But yeah, I can't take any messages or anything from that person. So it just depends on, you know, on the situation. If they're talking about spirituality, spiritual science, God consciousness, you know, that type of stuff. No, absolutely not. Even religion. No. If they're talking about how to build a house, you know what I'm saying? And teaching you about how to build a house, or how to, you know, stay away from vaccinations, or, you know what I'm saying? It just depends. But when it comes to mind science, spiritual science and stuff like that, no. That's why I don't listen to a lot of YouTube videos that I used to listen to anymore. I used to be like, I'm gonna listen to everybody, and so I can know what everybody is saying. But now I understand that there's an energetic transfer that happens when you're watching me, when you're watching any video, Sonnet or anybody. There's an actual energetic download that's happening beyond what the person is just saying. That's why, you know, I've told you guys before, turn the volume off and watch the aura. Turn the volume off and watch the energy, so you can understand the energetic download that's taking place beyond what's just being said in the video. It's a lot of energy vampires and a lot of low vibrational people online trying to teach you about whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be real careful with your energy. How do you balance your deep, refined intellectualism? Much love, Mosman? How do you balance your deep, refined intellectualism and spirituality versus your possible need to decompress? I'm sure it's taxing. Peace to you. It is. That's why you don't see me do a lot of these videos. Because when I put up a video, I got to deal with, you guys don't see what I'm saying, a lot of the stuff that gets said, a lot of the craziness that you have to deal with being on social media. And I'm a sensitive person. So I balance it through yoga. Obviously, I spend a lot of time in nature. If I don't spend at least 30 minutes like out in the sun, either walking or just sitting or, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel off. So for me, being out, getting sun, getting fresh air, taking full deep breaths, and just being able to be a witness to nature and a witness to God, that really, really, really settles my spirit, along with nature, along with, studying the science of the universe. That's the thing that really, 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 helps me to stay balanced. And then getting off of social media, you know what I'm saying? Like I have to give it some time and some space because people either, really love me or they hate me or they're somewhere in the middle ground, but that's a lot of energy to deal with. The love is wonderful and beautiful, but the hate, even if it's just words, even if it's just trolls, you know what I'm saying? That stuff bothers my spirit. So I have to, navigate when I come on, when I don't come on. And, if I'm in a really good mood or in a good space, I put up content. If I'm not, I don't put up content because I don't like to play with people's energies and with people's mindsets. So nature, I like to go to the movies. I like to do stuff by myself. I like to read. I'm boring, for the most part. So that's the type of stuff I like to do. Can you help me with my yoga, ZaZa? For sure. Yeah, it is hurtful. Peace. It's very hurtful, especially when you spend your life really trying to, elevate people and give people a higher sense of themselves. It's very hurtful. Okay. Much love, Mosman, the letter and the O is pronounced. Okay. Much love. I appreciate you. Somebody asked me a question that I wanted to answer. What made you leave Islam? I didn't leave Islam. I just took the best parts of Islam and incorporated it into my well-being, and same thing with all the other things that I teach and that I study. I can't say that I would, you see my last name is Ali. ZaZa is actually a Hebrew name, meaning belonging to all. And then Ali is a Muslim name. It's a big bird in my yard. Ali is a Muslim name, meaning the exalted of God. So, obviously I have a strong connection to Islam. I was going to the mosque in Oakland, Nation of Islam, studied the teachings of Elijah Muhammad for a long time. So I can't say that I left Islam. I've just gone beyond religion. For me at this point, my religion is love. My religion is really understanding the vastness of consciousness and of what God actually means from an African spiritual perspective, from the indigenous righteous aspect of how they looked at spirituality, and then Black people in our culture in America, and what we've overcome, and the science of going from alchemy. You guys always see me call myself an alchemist or talking about alchemy. That's the science of turning lead into gold. So on a spiritual level, Black people in America, the hand that we've been dealt and all the shit that we've been through, pardon my language, it is literally spiritual alchemy now for us to go from being treated as chattel slaves. You know what I'm saying? Chattel slavery and raped and tortured and abused for hundreds of years, to now be leading the world as far as culture, as far as music, as far as athletics. And as the consciousness continues to elevate, we will be, and in a certain regard, we are leading the world when it comes to spiritual and mental aspects. Now, I say that tongue in cheek because we're also leading the world in a lot of madness too. You know what I'm saying? So the transmutation or the alchemy part of it is for us to take that lead, the nigga frequency. Don't write me and tell me stop saying the word nigga. I say the word nigga specifically because the frequency lives and is alive and well. If you have a better word, then you can use that word. If you want to say demonic frequency, if you want to say low vibration, that's what I'm talking about. And that's not specific to race to me. There are white niggas, you know what I'm saying, on the planet. That's actually, well, I'm not gonna say that. So yeah, you know, just understanding that once we get into, as a people, once we really, really internalize the beauty of that struggle, taking that lead and transforming it into gold, once we start to embody certain spiritual tenements, we can't do everything we want to do. Yeah, you can have sex every night, but that shit'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can have, you know, 10 wives, but none of your wives are going to be able to get to have an equilibrium or a full-fledged connection with you as a man, the full synchronicity of a relationship. Yeah, women, we can go out and shake our asses online and on TV because we have the right to our bodies and to do whatever we want to do, but there's a price to pay with that. Men react physically when you throw sex in their face. So you can't objectify yourself and then turn around and say you mad at a man for treating you like an object. That's not the way it works. That's not the science of it. So yeah, I don't I wouldn't say I am a Muslim per se, but I am a Muslim per se. Do you think ancient Egyptian deities with boners should be fined for indecent exposure? You see what happens when you are trying to have a, you know, intelligent conversation, and then, you know what I'm saying, like this my page is clearly not for you. That's a stupid question. And you know, when in Kemet, when they did have those images or those pictures, right? Let me go back and read your question again to make sure I'm not overreacting. Do people recognize you as a celebrity when they see you out and about? Yeah, they do. It's a trip. Hold on. Let me go back and read. Do you think ancient Egyptian deities with boners should be fined for indecent exposures? Who asked that type of question? You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have they didn't have the kind of understanding that, or the perspective on sex that we have. When you see those images, they were talking about life. Going back to the question I was talking about earlier, when the brother asked me about, you know, the nature of your being coming from your father, they were talking about that's the spiritual source and essence of the sperm that meets the egg and that producing life. It wasn't the low vibration, low frequency. The question that you asked was so low vibration. Like, come on, bruh, I don't know what to do with that. I don't teach kindergarten. This is the wrong channel for you. Hold on. Do people see me as a celebrity? Yes, they do. We'll do 5 more minutes. It's 1:54 at 2:00. I'm going to end because I've been talking for 3 hours now at this point. But this is fun. I really like doing this. I'm going to start doing this every Friday so I can sit down and have a conversation with you guys. It's probably not going to be 2 hours, but yeah. What are my views on mental illness? There's a lot of layers to mental illness. A lot of that comes from chemical imbalance from diet. And some of that is from what happens in the mother's womb, her emotional stability, her mindset in the womb, as well as, you know, the type of diet that she eats while she's with child, the type of the condition of the sperm, the quality of the sperm. You know, when a sperm leaves the man, when a man ejaculates, some 300 million sperm, right? 200 to 300 million. By the time those sperm travel up through the woman's body and enter and get to the section where the fallopian tubes are, only like 5 sperm make their way. So from 300 million or 200 million to 5, the number 5, the woman's body is weeding out all of the sperm that are not healthy or that are not fully organic or that are not, you know what I'm saying, that are retarded in a certain sense. There's a weeding out process that happens in order for those best quality sperm that get to the fallopian tubes. I think that mental illness, some of those unhealthy sperm, and the most healthy sperm may still be a retarded or a stagnated sperm. So I think that, some of those sperm that are coming from men who drink too much, who smoke too much, who don't eat properly, all of that stuff is connected as far as the quality of children that we're giving birth to. I also think that the water, the air, the food we eat, vaccinations, all of that stuff is connected to that. And then, we live in a world now that is training us to think that we're literally here to work a 9 to 5, go home and repeat. It's like the hive in the Matrix, where you got all these bodies that are connected to these cords that are running this larger system. That's really kind of what's happening right now. Most people live their lives in a hive type of mindset. No full expansion and expression of the deeper divine aspect of themselves. So there's a lot of layers to mental illness, drugs, a lot of different things. I think that spiritually, because we are so spiritually inept or impotent, not only as Black people, but as a society in general, that we have not learned how to divinely reset the mind. So I think that, a lot of the stuff that I talk about, as well as diet, as well as herbs, as well as, the great master teachers that talked about, like Dr. Sebi, resetting your body physically, and then, taking tenements of Islam, tenements of Buddhism, tenements of the righteous versions of Christianity, and all these different things is what will help to reset ourselves mentally. Anything else? We have 3 more minutes. What do you think about happened to Dr. Umar? Do you know what happened lately? I have no idea. I don't keep up with that. What's the last good movie you saw? Avengers. Is there an upcoming movie that I'm hyped up to see? Avengers was good, and I really like that Kevin Hart movie, The Upside. That was a really good movie. Was there something that's coming out that I want to see? What is it? I don't know. I'm a movie buff, though. I go to the movies all the time, but I would definitely say the Avengers. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened to Dr. Umar. I don't know. I don't keep up with that stuff. Eating for your blood type. I can't say that I'm versed enough in that to answer your question. I know Dr. Sebi taught about that at length, and there's another brother. I can't think of his name right now, but do some research and find the people that have been studying that and that are well versed enough for that in order to get more information about that. Like, subscribe, much peace. Much love, peace. I appreciate you. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the movie Sorry to Bother You? I don't think I've seen that. I can't answer everyone. You're right. I don't think I've seen that. Where do I see myself in 5 years? They clown in his crib. Whose crib is dirty? Somebody's bed is what? Wait, what? They clowning who? What did I miss? Dr. Umar. Vaccines, that's a big question. I can't answer that. I can't answer that in one swoop. Send me an email. John Wick 3, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing Halle Berry do her thing. She looks so good. She's 53 years old. She is definitely goals. Yeah, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. What somebody's doing in their house and all that type of stuff. I don't have time for that type of stuff. How do you feel about polygamy? It works for those who it works for. That's not my thing. But whoever is good for it, that's good for them. I know that, and even in the Quran, it says that one wife is best for you. And it also says that there is no way to, properly, exhibit equity in those relationships. So I know we have a lot of, we have some brothers in the conscious community that are, trying to tout that idea that if you don't ascribe to polygamy, that you are somehow not going to benefit the betterment of the community. And to the sisters, I just simply say, this is a very big planet. There's Black men all over the world. There's absolutely no reason for you to have to settle for anything that does not fulfill your aspirations of relationship. Don't go out like that. Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? I'm going to end with that because it's 2:00. I see myself as a global teacher. I definitely want to start traveling the world and teaching people all over the world. I see myself as a best-selling author. The Science of Sex and The Science of Self is 2 books that I want to produce in the next over the next 5 years. But my writing, I really, really, really want to take it to the next level because I haven't even begun to show you guys the vastness and the power of my writing, which is my real, real, real talent. One of my real talents, a God-given talent. My first books, I actually wrote 3 books, well, 4 if you include the workbook, but the first 3 books, Black Matters, 2 of which I've already put out. I was under a lot of stress during that time. I was doing a lot of traveling. It was a real stressful situation that I was involved in, trying to write at the same time and travel and teach and study and do radio and be a mother. Even though my son was in California, it was just a lot going on. So I wasn't able to put my best foot forward in those writings, even though I am proud of them. But I have 2 books, and The Science of Self in particular is going to be a spiritual blueprint that I'm going to give to the world that is going to be a bestseller and is really, really, really going to shake things up as far as people having a blueprint on how to, all the stuff we talk about, get unstuck. How do I fit into the bigger scheme of things? What is God? How does that affect me? You know, these ideas of life versus death, consciousness, all that stuff. I really want to pour myself into those books, but they're going to take me about a year apiece to write. So traveling the world, teaching the world, learning from different cultures, expanding myself, and becoming a master teacher and a master of myself. That's where I see myself 5 years from now. And I'm going to end with that. If you guys have more questions, you can, I'm going to do this next week, 12 o'clock, same time. We'll do a live Q&A. If you have specific questions, go ahead and, email me or save these questions that you're asking me now. Shalom, Queen L, and we'll talk about it next week. Okay. ZaZaAli.com is my website. The link to all of my stuff is in the description of this video, to my workbooks, to my books, to get apply or to set up an appointment to work directly with me as a client in my 3-month program where I work directly with people. You can get information there. My other books, all my stuff, the link is below. Make sure y'all support, in whatever capacity you can. I don't even have a donation link on my website. I don't ask for donations because I want everything that we do to be reciprocal so all the energy can be clean. So if you appreciate this message and you love what I do, I get, the amount of loving and beautiful comments that I get on my videos should be about even with the number of people that actually support what I do as far as purchasing ebook, purchasing workbook, purchasing whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I think I'm going to I had a webinar set up for this weekend, but I canceled it because I didn't really get enough response from it. I think I'm going to put together some sort of webinar talking about, how people can get unstuck in this low energy. I don't know yet. We'll see. But make sure y'all support. And if you want to work with me in a direct capacity, you can either email me at info@ZaZaAli.com. Imagine having access to me every day, whenever you want to, and doing actual video consultations where I help you to figure your life out and to get to the next level of your consciousness, of your business, of your work, of your job, of your parenthood, of your relationships, of your emotional and spiritual well-being. That's what I do with my clients, and it has been a great experience, and we have had very high level impact. That's what I do. So if you're interested in working directly with me, email me info@ZaZaAli.com or click the link below and click the Science of Self program, and you can access my calendar. I think it might be all booked. I'm pretty sure it's all booked, but I will have new dates coming up in the near future. Y'all rocked with me for 2 hours and 2 minutes. I have literally been talking for 3 hours straight. So this has been a good energy exchange. I hope you guys benefited from this conversation. And it's good for me to sit down and just talk. You know what I'm saying? Because I know people don't think I'm a real person, but I am. And this is what I do, and this is who I am. So I appreciate all of your time and attention. Much love to Sister Jamie for holding me down, and everybody in the chat room, and everybody for the super chats, and all of my people who ride with me and who strengthen me through your love and through your prayers. I appreciate you guys. It's a 3-day weekend, so make sure you go out and get some sunshine and get in nature and appreciate your life and value your life and value the beautiful people in your life that support you and that love you, and make sure you stay sucker free. All right. Peace, y'all.